So this is according to, let me see, one sec. Where is it? Okay, so this is according to Reality Blurb. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Monica Garcia reveals the real reason for divorce as she talks ex-husband's arrest and wanting to spread, quote, awareness. So Monica Garcia took to her Instagram story on Wednesday with a shocking revelation. She and her ex-husband Mike divorced not due to her affair with her brother-in-law, but because of his DV against her. Okay. This is the receipts for what she's saying. Not receipts for the DV, but receipts for her perspective on what happened. Now, don't forget, the reason why we all thought that Monica and her husband divorced because of her affair, 18-month-long affair with her brother-in-law, was because that's what Monica strategically wanted us to believe. But just like it came out, we knew before because, we were sleuthing over here with the candy canes. But it came out on the show during the reunion part 1 when Andy says to Monica, talking about the divorce and the amount of alimony and child support she's getting. And she said it happened over a decade ago. So I'll get back to the story, but this is important because I never want to say I don't believe a victim when they say that they are the victim of something. But when you have a person like Monica who pathologically and systematically lies and manipulates and makes herself the victim in all situations, I squint a little bit more. I'm a little bit more hesitant. But again, myself, I just always believe people. So I just want to put that out there, just a little caveat. Because again, the reason why we thought they broke up because she had an 18-month affair with her brother-in-law was because she strategically said that on the show in a way that made us believe it was a current affair that caused her to divorce from her husband. But then we find out when the girls are either in Bermuda or on another girls' trip, I forgot which one it was, when they're around the table, I think it was Bermuda, and Heather says to Monica, they're talking about when was the last time you had sex, and Heather checks Monica and she's like, I'm the only single person at this table. You're still married. And everybody watching at least was like, wait a minute, what do you mean Monica's still married? Because the way Monica made it sound was like she was divorced and raising her children on her own. So just have a little caveat with that. But let's get back to the story. Okay. Hours after the premiere of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 4 reunion, Monica revealed that Mike was arrested numerous times for getting physical with her, even in front of their daughters, as she encouraged other victims and revealed plans to raise awareness on the show. I have received several questions about my divorce. Yes, the affair happened over a decade ago. No, that is not the reason for our divorce, Monica confirmed on her January 10th post. I understand you all having questions and trying to figure out the reason for the divorce now. I have debated answering this publicly or not. However, when I did apply to be on the show, I had planned on bringing awareness to this subject and speaking about it openly. The reason for our divorce was because of DV, she continued. Domestic V. You guys know what I'm saying? My ex was arrested a couple of times for DV on me in front of our girls and violations of protective orders. I had hoped to speak about it on the show to help better explain why things are the way they are in my life currently, to bring awareness to women dealing with this issue and to help them see that they are not alone. Okay. Again, I'm going to preface what I have to say about Monica with this. I believe victims, I believe women. And it pains me to say I struggle to believe her. And I'll tell you why. And it's not really my place to say if I believe her or not. So not necessarily whether I believe her or not. I'm just going to say she's questionable with stuff like this. And I'll tell you why. Number one, it seems a little convenient now to come out with this story. I feel like if you plan to talk about it on the show, you would have talked about it on the show. But like I said before, she strategically said that she had the affair with the brother-in-law, failing to say that it happened a decade ago, failing to say that she was still married to her husband, failing to say that was not the reason why that she wanted to be divorced. So it's not my place to say whether or not this happened, because this is a huge thing. This is a big thing. So I'm not saying whether or not it happened or not. I'm just saying, thinking about it critically, it seems like a very convenient narrative to now say, well, I want to have a storyline about bringing awareness to DV and being a voice and encouraging other victims, when you literally had an entire season to do this, but you didn't. In fact, you traumatized and victimized almost everybody on the cast. Another reason why I'm struggling with this, and not necessarily saying it did or did not happen, because again, it's not my place to say that. So I'm not saying whether it happened or whether it didn't happen. But we have seen Monica. What word am I looking for? We've seen Monica malign her own mother for storyline and for a sympathy. So if she's willing to do that to her own mother, I'm pretty sure she's willing to do that to her ex-husband. We've seen Monica weaponize her own children against her mother. We saw it with our own eyes. We saw it on the show, and then we also saw it in the leaked video with her and her mother. So we've seen this, where she strategically manipulates her children against her own mother and uses them for storyline and for sympathy to again make herself the victim. So I want to be clear. I know I said it a couple times, but this is a heavy topic. So I just want to be very, very sensitive and as respectful as I can. You know, I'm thankfully, thank God, I've never dealt with this myself. So I want to make sure that what I'm saying is respectful of people who have gone through this. I don't want to be ignorant to, I don't want to say anything that's ignorant to that just because I've never experienced it, right? So for anybody who has experienced it, I'm so sorry. It was not your fault, and my heart goes out to you. So I'm trying to give my point of view on this in the most respectful way. So it just seems that this person in particular, not all victims, just Monica in particular, has had such a documented history of lying, of manipulating her children, of victimizing herself, and of maligning people who are close to her for her own gain. To me, this sounds too much like storyline. To me, it sounds too much like this would be my redemption arc if you brought me back next season. Do you know what I mean? And I would be more keen to connect with this story with her because again, people always tell on themselves. They always tell you what their true intentions are. You just have to listen to them. The fact that baked into this story about, you know, him being physical against her, and that's the real reason why they are divorced, baked into that entire narrative was, oh, and it was my plan to talk about it on the show. It was my plan to be a platform for other people. It was my plan to talk about it on the show. Aha. That's why either this really did happen to you, and I'm so sorry, but you're talking about it now as a convenient narrative to be your redemption arc next season, or this didn't actually happen to you the way in which you're trying to spin it. And like we've seen you do time and time again, you're willing to lie, deny, kill, and steal in order to get what you want. Very similar to how she kept saying, well, the reason why I created Reality Von Tease was to expose Jen Shaw for being this horrible person. But then in her own voice, we have her talking about she wants to be the new Kim K, and that she can fully admit that the only reason why she's doing this crap work for Jen is to get on the show. So this is a very heavy topic, and I hope I'm tackling it with grace and sensitivity. But when it comes to this person in particular, like, stop playing with these heavy things. Like, we've seen this happen time and time again. On Beverly Hills, they weaponized homophobia, they weaponized racism. We saw it on Potomac with the whole Chris Bassett thing, what Giselle and what Robin did to him. We've seen that happen too. So we've seen on these shows where Tom Girardi pretending to have dementia to get out of going to prison. We've seen on these shows and with these people where they take very serious things. Dorit Kemsley with her alleged PTSD. They take these very serious things and they know how triggering they can be in order to do their own reputation rehab or to do their own way to malign someone or to deflect from what's going on in their own lives, right? Look over here at this person, don't look over here at me, or I don't like you, so I'm going to say this and this about you, right? And because they're such heavy topics, it's really hard to say, I don't believe you, you're lying. Because who is ever going to say that to a victim with a straight face? You know what I'm saying? So they use such big things like this because it kind of gives them this sort of bulletproofness. Because then if anybody says your story doesn't make sense, your story isn't up to snuff, you've done all this, it's, well, how dare you not believe a victim? Right? So, like, for example, thankfully, what happened in Potomac with Chris Bassett, shout out to production on The Real Housewives of Potomac, they came with the receipts to prove that what those women, Giselle and them, was trying to put on him, and by proxy, Ashley's, Cookie Monster friend or whatever she's called over there, they had the receipts. They're like, oh, they're saying Chris did this. Actually, this is that. And then they had the screenshots from the DMs and everything else, and they had his side of the story. So thankfully, because without those receipts, it's really hard to say, I don't believe your story. You know what I mean? And so they use these big things to make themselves bulletproof. But the thing is, you're not bulletproof because we're not idiots. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So if you lie, deny, steal, and kill, you're probably lie, denying, stealing, and killing. Now, again, I'm not saying that she is lying about her personal experience. I'm not saying he did not do this. I'm not saying he did do this. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just saying, given her pattern of behavior that is well documented, I would have questions about this situation. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. That's right, Virgo Queen. Giselle plotting on Monique's downfall with her husband was super wrong too. Exactly. Talking about the paternity of Monique's child and whether or not when Monique lost her child before her rainbow baby, prematurely, and she went to that saying that it was that she, quote, voluntarily no longer had the pregnancy, the A word, you know what I'm saying? That's also a horrible thing to try and put out there. And then women themselves, again, so sick, said, yeah, well, we had to not go with that the baby wasn't Chris's because the baby looked just like him. That right there shows you intent. That's disgusting. We had to not say that the baby wasn't Chris's because the baby looked too much like him. Because remember, they were going with the storyline or lie rumor that the baby was Monique's trainers. Again, very, very heavy, life-altering topics. The paternity of a child, whether or not somebody involuntarily or voluntarily lost a pregnancy, physical abuse in a relationship, feeling sexually uncomfortable, like someone is, a predator towards you. Like, someone's a homophobe, someone's a racist, someone is this, someone is that. These huge, very heavy, serious things where it's very hard to push back on. But I got questions, Monica. I got questions. And if I was Mike, I'd lawyer up. Unless he's guilty, then he can go to jail too with Jen Shah. But again, I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying he didn't do it because I don't know. But I would have questions. So as always, let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and put it down below. All right. You guys want one more story? I think I got one more story in me, guys. Because I've been talking for 2.5 hours. So let's do another story. Let's do Monica's mom. So Mommy Dearest is out here doing the absolute most.